All right. Well, we are live, and this is Nate and Jen Wolfe, and we are coming to you for the first time together. We are going to be doing weekly shows together, and tonight is our introduction show. And so we wanted to just do a brief beginning show for you guys, recording to tell you a little bit about what we're hoping to accomplish with these shows and what topics we'll be covering, how it would benefit you as a viewer. And so I guess we're going to just jump right into it with some background information. And one of the things that we want to tell you is that if you're unfamiliar with our story, and specifically about my firing from my church last year, then just go to the beginning of my YouTube channel, scroll down to one of the first few videos. I did some interviews with Robbie Davidson, Chad Taylor, and others that basically explain all the details about what happened. And so we're not going to cover a lot of those items in this introduction tonight. We're just going to dive right into giving you some background about us as individuals, as a couple. And so we'll go ahead and just start with that. So we want to thank you for watching. Please, if you're not already subscribed, click the subscription button and also the notification bell so that you can be notified of when we do uploads. And we are planning on doing uploads every Tuesday evening. We haven't figured out all the exact details of that, but it'll probably be Tuesday evening around 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern. So we'll work out those details. But for this introduction, we want to just kind of take you back to our beginnings. Even before we were Nate and Jen, just a little bit about Nate as an individual and my upbringing and a little bit about Jennifer. So I'm going to let ladies go first. So Jennifer can tell us whatever she wants, tell you about her.
Okay. Well, hi, I'm Jennifer, and I grew up mostly in Anchorage, Alaska. I'm the oldest of four, and I like to do crafts. I like to be outdoors. I love kids and always wanted to be a mom. And so that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, and one of the neat things about how we met is that Jennifer, although she didn't grow up or wasn't born in Anchorage, Alaska, she grew up in Anchorage, Alaska since elementary school.
Yep.
So her family moved up to Anchorage, and that's very similar to my story. I was not born in Anchorage, but when I was very young, my dad took a job up in Anchorage, Alaska. And so my family moved up there. That was my dad and mom, myself, and my mother, who was pregnant with my younger sister, and who was born just a few months after we arrived in Anchorage. And then we kind of converged and met in high school.
Yep.
So that's kind of how we met, but we both just started out as families that relocated to Alaska, Anchorage to be specific. And, the state motto for Alaska is the last frontier. And it certainly is a frontier state in many ways. Although we will share with you that although there are igloos and, dog sledding teams and bears and all of that, but really Anchorage is like a modern city. I mean, we live in the Toledo, Ohio area. Anchorage is every bit as modern and in some ways even more modern than Toledo, Ohio, or most of the typical medium-sized cities across the nation. But we ended up meeting in high school, and we've shared some details about that in other videos and interviews. But suffice to say, I was a year older than Jennifer. And so I graduated in 1991, and we were dating at the time. And I decided I wanted to stick around and try to put a ring on it. So I worked for a year until she finished her senior year and graduated high school. And then we were married shortly afterwards. And Jennifer, where did we move to from Anchorage, Alaska after we were married?
Yeah, we went away to Arkansas for higher education. And that's not a joke. We actually went to Arkansas to get our college degrees. Nate studied Bible and ministry. I studied social work. And so we lived down in Arkansas for 4 years and graduated and moved back to Alaska and started having a family.
Yeah, it was a difficult transition because Anchorage, Alaska to north of Little Rock, Arkansas, was so different. Now you had the southern hospitality and just the wonderful people, but we felt like fish out of water, and it took us several weeks to get adjusted. But we stayed in Arkansas, other than summers and holiday vacations. We stayed there
Mhm.
for 4 years,
Made a
and
lot of good friends.
made a lot of good friends,
Mhm.
some of which are still strewn about the South and
Yep.
other points. And then, as Jennifer said, we moved back to Alaska in 1996 after we graduated, and we spent about almost 5 years up there. And I had gone to school for ministry and Bible, but at the time, there were no churches that wanted to hire a new minister. And so we did some volunteer work with the church, but I kind of went the secular employment route and did some counseling and social work jobs for a few years, and then transitioned for several months. I got a wild hair and went into the police academy in Anchorage, and finished the academy after 6 months, did a few months of field training, had some adventures, and decided that I needed to be in ministry. And Jennifer had worked in the counseling and social services field,
Yep.
and so we were there until we decided to go into full-time ministry.
Yep. Our
And
first two sons were born in Alaska.
yep, first two were born in Anchorage, and then our third son was born. He was our first missionary baby in Michigan. Did youth ministry there for a few years, and then moved to Idaho. So we
Mhm.
moved out west from the Great Lakes, and our daughter Hannah was born in Idaho. So she was our second missionary baby, as we like to say. Did you have something you wanted to add?
Yep.
Yeah, she's my fact checker, and
Yep. That's
she's
good.
very
That's
good
correct.
on
Yep.
dates and things too. So I always appreciate
Mm.
her helping to keep me honest there. Well, after we were in Idaho for 8 years, we moved in 2011 to the Toledo, Ohio area and continued in ministry. I was doing full time preaching and teaching, and my wife was working for agencies and for the county,
Yep.
and working with those who are in the developmental disability field. And now here we are, like I said, 2019. If you want to hear about what happened to us in 2018, you can check out those interview videos. But we'll just let you know that we went to a truth conference in 2018, the Take on the World 18 conference, and we were blown away by some of the things that we were introduced to, and some things such as biblical cosmology, flat Earth, that we were already pretty much convinced of. But a few weeks after that, I was fired from my congregation suddenly, and that freed me up to begin a new ministry suddenly. I mean, real suddenly. And the last 11 months since that time, 12 months since that time, I've been doing a lot of speaking and teaching and traveling and one-on-one ministry. It's been challenging, to say the least. Challenging is probably a light word, but it's also been very rewarding. So, Jennifer, what's your take on this last year?
Oh, it's definitely been a challenge. Lots of change, lots of growth. But as you can see, we've lived in a lot of different places. We have 4 children. We've been married 27 years. And what we were hoping to share on this show is just some of our experiences, if they can help other people parenting, from the young ages up till teenagers and young adults, which is what we're parenting now. Marriage, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, mostly good.
Communication, yeah, ministry life. We've had a lot of experiences, and maybe something that we've gone through could help someone else.
Yeah, that's really a good, nutshell, idea of what types of topics, broad strokes. Obviously, there's a lot of very specific things that we could talk about within those categories, and that's our plan, really. We'll be doing weekly uploads, and we don't have a time frame necessarily for each video. I guess that will just depend on the topic.
Yeah, play it by ear.
but we definitely are not planning on doing 1 to 2 hour marathons.
No.
Most likely, this will be like 15 to 20 minutes. 30 minutes will be a long video for us. But we hope that these topics will encourage you. We plan on being as transparent as we are able to, honest and share about our experiences, our thoughts, our struggles, our triumphs. Sometimes it will be discussing, nuts and bolts, specific things about these important life areas. Other times, we'll be sharing about maybe what not to do, you know,
Sure.
um,
Learn from our mistakes.
learning from mistakes. I mean,
Hmm.
that's one of the big teachers is our mistakes, right? And whether or not we seek to actually learn from them or if we're repeating them over and over and over. But we will give a disclaimer that although we've been married 27 years and we're both in our middle 40s, we don't claim to have all the answers, and there are other people that we're still learning from, other couples
Sure.
that have been married longer than us and have other experiences that we're, not used to. And so our pledge to you is that we don't claim to have all the answers, but we're going to share these experiences that we believe have been important to our growth. Like I said, both the good and the bad, the victories and the defeats. And hopefully that will be an encouragement to you. And we also would like for folks to submit, ideas or
Hmm.
topics. You can submit those directly to my email. That is nate@firedfortruth.org. And just to let you know, anything regarding Nate or Jennifer or our family, anything that's public on YouTube or ministry related, you can find in one stop. And that is at my website, which is firedfortruth.org. That's fired, FOR, truth.org. And that includes all the social media links, a
Hmm.
contact form, which pushes to my email. So if you have questions or comments, we welcome those through that email.
Sure. Or
And
even in our comments on the video.
yeah, or even in the comments section on the video. And what we'll probably do is we'll mix it up from time to time. There may be some shows where we just do kind of a Q&A. We'll pick maybe 4 or 5 questions that people have asked via email or in the comments, and then we'll tackle those. And if we don't have an answer for something, or we can only give you an initial answer, and we decide, look, to answer this better or more fully, we need to pray about it, study about it, then we'll be happy to do that as well. So I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah. Something new. Well,
Something new, hopefully
give
something
it a shot.
beneficial. And so give us your feedback. And I'm excited that, Jennifer gets a chance to talk about important things. And she hasn't had much of a word in edgewise this year because of me doing so many things on the platform. But our family has just surpassed our 1 year anniversary
Mhm.
since I was fired. And it's just been an incredible journey. And as we said, some days we're pulling out our hair and crying out to the Father, and other days we're just whooping it up in joy and seeing the victories and the providence of God the Father. So we hope that you'll be encouraged by these. We thank you for joining us. And again, please email us your thoughts, questions, nate@firedfortruth.org. And so this is Nate and Jen signing off for now, and we will see you next time. Take care and God bless.